Mother Teresa once said, I can do things you cannot. You can do things I cannot. Together, we can do great things. And that's the truth of leadership. It's not about doing everything yourself. It's about seeing the strength in others, trusting your team, and knowing that greatness, what happens, you guys? It happens together. That's how trust is built. And that's how teams thrive. Sorry. It's discontinued. It's funny how one person, one manager can change everything when you work in retail. A good one can make you feel seen, valued, and capable of more than you thought you could do. You could achieve your goals, make things happen. You felt inspired. A bad one can make you question if you even belong there, or you want to stick with it. The kind of power, it sounds dramatic, but it's real. I've experienced it, where you come into work and you're excited for the day, you're feeling good, but then your manager is not. It really happens, especially in retail. Managers can make or break your spirit faster than any customer ever could. Welcome to another episode of Sorry, It's Discontinued. I'm Hilary, your host, and thank you for joining me today. Do you know I appreciate you? I hope you're doing something nice for yourself today. Maybe you're off, maybe you're running to work, maybe you close, maybe you open. What's one great thing you could do for yourself? Or something that you could remind yourself that you did. I did that today. I brushed my teeth. I walked my dog. I exercised. I took a nap because my body needed it. What's the one thing that you did for yourself today or you're going to do? Because I appreciate you. And let's talk about managers. Oh, yeah. Now, I'm mainly talking about managers inside, department stores, luxury, non-luxury, department managers who oversee multiple brands and teams. But honestly, counter managers fall right into this too. They might lead smaller teams, but being a counter manager, the influence can be just as powerful as a department manager. You're basically living with these people in your workspace. A counter manager sets the tone for that little world inside the store. Or the manager of the brand ambassador. It doesn't have to be cosmetics and fragrances. That's usually where my mind goes because that's what I've experienced. But a counter manager makes all the difference in how the team communicates, how clients are treated, and how brand goals really come to life. They can be really inspiring, really uplifting, or it can go the other way. I've connected with so many of my managers over the years. There were times when being a part of their team, it made me feel like I was a part of something big. It could be really powerful. It's really that sense of belonging, of having a leader who believed in me. It made everything feel worth it, even on days where events and goals, national artists, spas, you just didn't feel alone in it when they had your back. But that can shift so quickly. The pressure to hit a goal, the tension from corporate, or small microaggressions can change everything, especially when it comes from your manager, your department manager. And it can change everything. Sometimes you could tell it wasn't personal. It was just the manager, department manager, passing down the same pressure that they were getting from their manager. And then there were those managers who brought their own problems to work. So That has always been a challenge for me. I've experienced it quite a few times in my retail career. I've worked with leaders who are going through so much personally that they brought every bit of it to work, and the whole team felt it. And I would try to fix it. My codependency would pop up like, how can I make this better? What do you need? As soon as they walk in, the energy would shift, and you could tell if it was going to be a calm day or a day where everyone had to tiptoe around this person. And I had a tendency, because of my fixer personality and a little bit of a therapist built in from my mom, I would find myself trying to buffer the stress, to smooth things over so the team could breathe. And that's an emotional job. It was exhausting all on its own. When your day already feels exhausting and then you add someone else's issues and mood to your own energy and the team, it's just more exhausting. And the hardest part was when the same managers would take credit for what the team had actually pulled off. They would talk to our bosses and leadership and act as if they had achieved the goal. It was their team, their decisions, when we all knew who actually had stayed late or came in early to clean up the spa room or organized everything before events, who had set up event tables, who had done the makeup applications when these managers might not come in. So even calling out on mornings of events and leaving the rest to scramble because there's always chaos and situations in their life. But meanwhile, the team was going through their own personal struggles and then going to work and putting on a brave face and a big smile and still doing that even when some of your leadership isn't showing up when they're supposed to. And then a lot of that responsibility that falls on the team falls on you. So it can be very challenging when your manager and leadership is not taking responsibility for some of the leadership responsibilities that they are in charge of, and it falls on the team. It's really the worst kind of leadership. No judgment on what is happening in people's lives. Life is hard, I know, but there has to be a balance. And we talk about this. You can't expect for your team to pick up the weight all the time. It has to be a team effort looking out for each other, but it's not just about the one person. So when someone wants all the credit, but not taking any of the accountability, that's when you realize leadership, it's not just about numbers. It's not about just a pretty little resume. It's about being the kind of manager who doesn't just show up for the meeting, but really shows up for the people. So looking back at the beginning of my retail career, all the way back to my time at Foley's, God, it feels forever ago, I can still remember a lot of my managers. I can remember the ones that were really kind, inspiring. I can remember the ones that there's a few faces that pop in there. I don't think they liked me very much. They weren't very nice. I remember the sexist ones and some of the perverted ones, and also the ones who were inspiring, really taught through patience and were motivating. The ones that even when there was a huge goal in front of me and our team, they were kind and believed we could do it and pushed me to do things I didn't think I could do. But it's so funny how certain managers stick with you. I was thinking about this the other day. Well, this morning. It's funny how managers can really stick with you, kind of like when you were in school, like your teachers did, or influenced you. You don't remember every sales goal. You don't remember all of your homework, but you can remember some of your teachers that were amazing and not so amazing, just like your managers. And you really do remember, at least for me, being around that manager, how they made me feel. It's very powerful. Why don't you sit with that for a minute? Think about a manager that made you feel really good, made you feel inspired. And then think about a manager that didn't. What's the difference? All right, quick fun fact. I think this is so fascinating. I like that word. Stanley Marcus of Neiman Marcus started out working on the sales floor. He believed the customer experience started with the associate, not the product. He used to say, there is never a good sale for Neiman Marcus unless it's a good buy for the customer. I think that's so cool. If you haven't already, you need to go to the Neiman Marcus Dallas store. If you can, if possible, I'm going to do an episode just highlighting Neiman Marcus in Dallas, the first store. Oh, it's just so beautiful. I've said it before. I'll say it again. When you get a chance, just go walk around like a museum. The people who work there are incredible. There's only like 10 people. It's quiet, but it's like romantic, and you just have to go if you can. But anyway, so Stanley Marcus, his kind of leadership grounded in elegance, service, and respect, it really helps shape what luxury retail still aspires to today. I just think that's so cool. Really, the truth is, being a manager today is nothing like it used to be. We need to recognize all that these managers are doing now. It's not just about scheduling or coaching or keeping the floor running smoothly. They are juggling sales goals, brand expectations, digital orders, these digital orders and customer service issues that pop up, like online returns. They're also focusing on their clienteling lists for all their associates, corporate metrics that never stop growing or are so challenging because they're shifting and trying different things all the time. Now, if you think about it too, after COVID, everything changed, especially for managers. So teams got smaller, workloads got bigger, and the emotional demands multiplied. Thinking back to COVID, that was so emotional when everybody was furloughed and there was so much going on, and these managers were carrying the weight of how to explain to their teams that they had to furlough them, and some of them had to be let go. Can you imagine that crisis, that trauma? How do you recover from that when you don't even have time to really recover? You're just go, 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 go because your boss is watching. So managers had to become crisis managers, balancing safety rules, sick calls, product shortages. And there was so much anxiety. And a lot of the managers, you could almost think they were like therapists. They had to listen and be supportive, but some of them probably couldn't because they were carrying so much emotional weight. So the retail floor, it really became less predictable, the pressure to do more with less. It was this new normal, especially when you're trying to sell products that people couldn't even come in and use, like your skincare and your color. Thank God for the fragrance boom, because that really offset a lot of the stress. If you think about it, what a fucking blessing that was. I can only speak for myself and what was going on, but to have people getting some income so they could come in and shop. Thank goodness. So what I'm really talking about more right now is the department managers and all of this emotional weight that they've been carrying for years now, since Everything happened with COVID, and the structure of the job itself has changed dramatically. Most stores, like I said in my previous episode, don't even have full customer service departments anymore. Managers and associates are in charge of a lot of what customer service needs come up for clients. And some stores don't even have an HR department anymore. Some stores don't have the option for managers to offer associates to do their own scheduling. It can even be done in corporate or their corporate offices that are outside of the store. On paper, it can look like, oh, that's a great idea, make things easier. But in reality, does it? Does it really help managers? Instead of it helping, managers now have to double check schedules. They have to move shifts around, clean up mistakes. I've heard that this can happen. I don't know. This is my opinion, but does it help? Okay. So now on top of that, what else do they do? Well, they do a lot. These managers, they do a lot. They spend so much time in meetings, Zoom call, planning meetings, store leadership meetings, corporate meetings, brand, spring, fall planning, meeting, weekly. Plus, they have to talk to their associates and fit them in, and they have to hire or let people go. And this is all happening weekly, daily, meetings, even on the weekends. Because remember, retail is not a Monday through Friday gig. It's an all week gig. They're like doctors, for your retail soul. They're always on call. So imagine these seasonal planning, new launches, events, trunk shows, artist visits, fragrance promotions, spa activities, all these installations, plus the counter might need to change it up. You have to make sure visual is set. So no wonder when so-and-so's boss from brand so-and-so comes in and they're like, why isn't this moved around? Why aren't you focusing on my brand? Well, because they have 500,000 more things that they have had to do in the last 2 days. They're expected to know every detail. What sold last year? What are your LYs? What's the forecast? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? On a beach in Maui, taking a break because I'm tired. So the event goals, making sure every department hits those numbers. And all of that is happening. There's still the Zoom calls, the brand trainings, and the store walkthroughs to prepare for from corporate because so-and-so wants to do a pop-in. How are the metrics? Is everybody emailing? Email. How many times can I say that fast? Not very well. It wasn't very good. So let's not forget the counter managers. So department managers are in charge of all of that and supporting their business managers or counter managers or brand managers because they're all in on these seasonal planning meetings too, and they have to connect. So delegating a lot to the business managers is very helpful. But they have to prepare brand updates, hosting master classes, tracking daily goals, while still performing as the top salesperson for the counter. A lot of times, counter managers are supposed to be at the top because they're the leader. They're the ones that have to lead by example and keep the counter going at whatever percentage of that goal that they have to achieve. It's a lot. It's a lot. Who out there as a department manager or a business manager recognizes all that I'm saying? There's so much multitasking happening. It's crazy to me. I actually witnessed the other day a manager at a store I was kind of visiting. I saw this manager walking around and helping associates, stopping to sell because they had to sell. It's part of their job. They also had to set up tables. And meanwhile, I think that there was so much going on at home. I think that they have a little one and the little one wasn't feeling great. And what a fucking badass this manager was. I was blown away. And every time I would see them, it is awe inspiring. Not all stores have the option to give enough support to their managers, business managers or counter managers, department managers, or what have you. They just don't have the staff support or the budget. And that's one of many, many managers that are doing so much. And then they're asking, why am I so tired? Like, fuck yeah, you're tired. You're basically doing all of it. All of it. It's a lot. So, all in all, retail leaders today aren't just managers. They're wearing many hats. Okay, fun fact. Pat Farrah, I hope I'm saying their name right, one of the founders of Home Depot, started as a retail employee working on the floor. His vision was simple: build a place where employees and customers could learn, grow, and feel capable. That's hands-on, Home Depot style leadership. Jumping in, teaching, listening. That's the kind of approach that keeps teams connected, no matter how tough things get. I love fun facts with people. So managers and counter managers, they're running on empty more often than we realize. They're the middle layer, really that filter between corporate pressure and the people actually doing the work. So every policy, every unrealistic goal, every staffing cut, it passes through them before it hits the sales floor. And the irony is, associates often get trained on customer service techniques, how to greet, how to sell, how to close. Managers rarely get the same kind of training when it comes to people skills. They're taught how to drive business, how to manage payroll, track KPIs, and push productivity. But they're not always taught, in my opinion, how to lead people, how to work with different personalities. And that kind of training, if you do get it, how often do they get it? Because it's not something you can just go and do one day, like a quick 30-minute module. It's something that you really have to work with and practice. And I don't think anyone really teaches managers how to communicate effectively. Not all the time. It can come from experience, working with great mentors. But how do you learn to handle emotions when you're under pressure and you don't snap? I would snap sometimes. I'd have to walk and take 10 minutes. But how do you learn to inspire instead of intimidate? There used to be leadership seminars that I'd hear about, and it, I think, was meant to build strong leaders. I'm sure it helped the managers, connect with each other. But did it just reinforce that managers were here and associates were here and there was still that divide? Did you guys ever see that Friends episode where Ross is like working at the museum and Joey, I think he was a tour guide, but they have lunch in the break room and there's all the white coats and then the other people. And Joey wanted to sit with Ross. But they were separated. It reminds me of that. It's this divide between leadership and associates. So did those trainings that these managers would go to, years ago, because I don't really think that they're doing them as often anymore, but it created more of a caste system, don't you think? It created more of an invisible line between who is the leader and who is the follower, when really, in my opinion, the store only works when everyone is in it together. Like literally, like we're all a team here. What if that could change? What if, this is hypothetical, this is Hilary pop up, imaginations. But what if there were trainings that brought managers, counter managers, and associates together? You would have these trainings on how to work together, how to communicate. We're a team in this business to grow our business together, not just talk about numbers, but to actually build trust, understanding. And what's the word? The magic word. Teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work, y'all. It really does. You feel like you're a part of something. So imagine a workshop where both sides could see what the other carries. The stress, the pressure, pride, and the daily grind. Is that cheesy? But I really could see where you could do something like this, where it doesn't have to be a crazy investment either. But look at all the crap that they're investing money in anyway. You could set some money aside for a pizza party, and how to build trust in small little lunch groups. There has to be an idea where people can work together and create that team building exercise in each store. Let's think about that. Okay, so fun facts. Roz Brewer is one of the most inspiring women in business today. She started her career at Kimberly-Clark. She worked her way up through operations and management before becoming the first African-American woman to lead a Fortune 500 company. She served as CEO of Sam's Club, then as COO of Starbucks, and most recently as the CEO of Walgreens Boots Alliance, where she led one of the world's largest retail and healthcare companies through some of the most challenging times. She's just freaking awesome. Roz is known for her leadership philosophy. It blends business acumen with empathy. That's one of my favorites. She's often described as a servant leader, someone who believes that great leadership, it starts by listening. Aw, that's just so beautiful. She once said, when people feel seen, they bring their best selves to work. And that's when everything changes. I love that because it's exactly what retail needs more of. Compassion and connection from the top all the way down. She's so cool. Okay, I want to serve up another fun fact. So Mary Dillon is one of those rare CEOs who truly built success on kindness. She served as the CEO of Ulta Beauty from 2013 to 2021. And during her time there, she transformed the company into one of the most beloved beauty retailers in the country. Its store footprint grew dramatically, and its culture became known for being inclusive, positive, and people-centered. She grew up in a large Irish family in Chicago, to growing leadership roles at McDonald's, PepsiCo, and US Cellular. But what made her different? It was her empathy. She focused not on profits, but on the people, her associates, her customers, and the communities Ulta served. Mary Dillon always said that leading with empathy isn't soft, it's smart. I've said things like that. I really think it is such a smart business move. She believed kindness builds loyalty, creativity, long-term growth. And she proved it. That's powerful. And then Deirdre O'Brien at Apple. So Deirdre O'Brien is Apple's Senior Vice President of Retail and People. She's not as well known as the other women, but she leads the Apple stores around the world and the company's global HR operations. She's been with Apple for over 30 years. She helped build its retail experience from the ground up. What makes her leadership special is how she focused on people. She believes Apple's stores aren't just about technology. It's about the human connection. Deirdre often says that Apple's greatest innovation isn't a product, it's the experience. Kind of true. I mean, you go into an Apple store and you're just like, okay, it's kind of smooth. They're friendly. They're welcoming. She leads with empathy, and she believes that every interaction, so true, from a customer's first hello to an associate's first day on the job, should make someone feel valued and inspired. I'm crying. I mean, that just feels good. That's what true leadership looks like, leading through connection, not control. You can still profit when you lead with empathy and you lead through connection. She's a prime example. These are like 3 women who've redefined leadership by proving that empathy and excellence can exist side by side and still make incredible business happen. So being a great leader, whether you're a department manager or a counter manager or a store director, sometimes means asking yourself, how can I help this situation? How best can I serve? Because real leaders, it doesn't mean you're giving up control. They connect with their team. That kind of leadership, it comes with practice and trust and a big bag of humility. Being humble means being confident enough to guide, but humble enough to keep learning. Leadership, it doesn't happen overnight. And the best leaders, they're the ones who don't see themselves as the boss. You wouldn't even know. Okay, little side note. I was in a store and I was talking to somebody. They asked me, did I meet so-and-so manager? And I said, no. They pointed the manager out. This whole past hour, I had seen them, but I didn't realize that they were a manager. I thought that they were an associate. They were walking around to every single counter and talking to the associates. It was beautiful. They were relaxed, like they were a part of the team, but they weren't the leader, the boss. I wouldn't have known. And I had to tell them after I met them and introduced myself, it was so great to see someone who took the time and walked around and connected with not just one or 2. It wasn't a favorite situation. It was literally, I'm going to talk to all of my team, check on everybody, see how everybody's doing. Literally all of them. It was so cool. Who does that? I mean, maybe just for a check-in, I've got a review. Did you check your email? What are you going to do today? Did you make your goal? No, you could tell none of that was happening. It was like, how are you? What's going on with you today? Oh, I know. Have you smelled this new fragrance? I mean, that's everything that we love. It gets you excited. And then wow, my boss is so cool. So the boss that doesn't see themselves as the boss, but is the person who's steering the ship, making sure everyone has what they need to reach success so you could reach success together. So impactful. I've learned that the best leaders aren't afraid of not being liked. They're not afraid to ask for help. They know when to take ownership and when to share responsibility without using that power to control or punish or avoid doing work. True leadership is really a balance, everyone doing their part and the manager taking accountability for their own. It's black and white in its ethics, but colorful in its empathy. Okay, that was totally Chat GPT. I didn't do that, but I really liked it. So I did keep it in. It's black and white in its ethics, but colorful in its empathy. It's a little cheesy, but the truth is that's really how teams are built. It's through trust and honesty and having compassion. It's what keeps people growing, wanting your team to grow and succeed and want to go for opportunities, even surpass you. But you know what else? You know what else is pretty cool? My favorite managers, the ones I would laugh with, the fun managers. That matters a whole bag of chips. Let me tell you, you want to be a fun manager. You can't always be a fun manager. I know, it's okay. But a little joy goes a long way. I love some cute stickers. I like to put them on the goal paper pad with our numbers and what we needed to do. I loved highlighters, colorful pens, stationery, bring in some candy. So then everybody comes in and even other associates would come to the counter and want to have some candy. You create an atmosphere where people want to be a part of it. And it builds a sense of community, which is what we're doing here with this podcast, my retail warriors, because I love you guys. So for many of us, working in retail, you're there 38 hours a week or more. The store, the counter, it's a huge part of your life. So as a leader, you have to ask yourself, how can I make this a better place for my team? How can I make coming to work inspiring, not draining? You know, I loved it when I would get surprises from my managers, like some donuts. Or I could share in my love of stationery pens. I would have the pink pen, and my one great manager would have a purple pen talking about Barbies. That connection, I won't ever forget it. Like I've said, impactful. Mother Teresa, I love this quote. Mother Teresa once said, I can do things you cannot. You can do things I cannot. Together, we can do great things. And that's the truth of leadership. Think of some great leaders you've had. Think about some people who've inspired you in your career, retail or wherever, the good and the bad, and how they made you feel, because you never forget how they made you feel. It sticks with you. So connection, empathy, team building. It doesn't just create better managers, but it creates better humans. Can you imagine the shift in energy that would ripple through all these stores and all these counters and every associate and every client who walks in? They'd be like, man, you guys like each other. What is happening? And I want more of this. I'm coming back tomorrow, y'all. The power of connection, it can change an entire atmosphere of retail. Okay, I probably feel like I need to take it down a notch. I've had some coffee and it's pretty late, so I'm probably not going to sleep tonight. But so I really appreciate you guys and I appreciate you listening. And I want your feedbacks. You can always reach out to me on sorryitsdiscontinued.com. You can find me on social media under Sorry It's Discontinued. I'd love to hear what you guys think about this episode. Am I being cheesy and unrealistic? I mean, the power of kindness and great leadership. I don't know, just research those women. All right. I hope you have a wonderful week. And I love you guys, my retail warriors. You got this. Do something nice for yourself, though. All right. Okay. Bye. Thank you so much for spending time with me behind the counter today. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow Sorry It's Discontinued on your favorite podcast app and leave a quick rating or review. It really helps our retail family and fellow customers find the show. You can also connect with me on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at Sorry It's Discontinued. And if you have your own behind-the-counter story, a discontinued product heartbreak, or a beauty or retail industry confession, send it my way. Your story, it might be featured in a future episode. You can send me a message at sorryitsdiscontinued.com. Now, this podcast, it's independently produced and is not affiliated with any brands or companies mentioned. All stories and opinions shared are personal, reflecting the real-life experiences of those who've worked in this industry with heart and hustle. Thank you for being here. And remember, as cheesy as it sounds, a smile can really brighten someone's day. Honestly, whether you're behind the counter or shopping in front of it. See you next time. Bye. Sorry. It's discontinued.